Tonight on CTV News at 11:30. The murder trial is wrapping up for a young offender charged in connection to a brazen bar shooting in Sudbury. Plus, thieves targeted Timmins clothing store.
I thought with all the cameras and all the security system we installed and everything that we would be okay.
The owner says it's her fourth break-in, and as a result, it's causing her to reflect. And the province wants Ottawa to review veterans' cases where the Victoria Cross is involved.
For the men and women who served, war was not a story, it was a reality.
We'll have more on what it could mean for one Northern Soldier's Medal.
CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. The trial is wrapping up of a young offender charged with murder from almost 3 years ago inside a bar in Sudbury. CTV's Angela Campbell has details tonight from the courthouse.
The young person, who was 16 at the time, can't be identified. They're charged with murder and other offenses in the April 2023 fatal shooting of 22-year-old Joe Cabigan at Overtime Sports Bar. Final submissions were made today after almost 2 weeks of testimony. Witnesses testified to an altercation between two groups of men inside the bar on April 21st, 2023. Neither group was known to each other. Bar staff told one of the groups to leave, but a short time later, surveillance video shows one of the men returning and shooting the victim in the back of the head while he sat at the bar. The police investigation found a discarded satchel with a handgun inside, several blocks from the scene. The young person was arrested in Toronto a week after the shooting. Yesterday, the judge lifted a temporary publication ban on the identity of the co-accused, Noah Singh, who remains at large. Defense is trying to prove that due to his age, history of abuse, and threats from the co-accused, the young person acted under duress to pull the trigger. Tomorrow, the judge will hear submissions on a constitutional challenge from the defense that, if approved, would drop the first-degree murder charge down to second degree. Angela Campbell, CTV News, Sudbury.
North Bay police have seized more than $38,000 in illegal drugs and cash as part of a street crime unit investigation. 3 people were arrested yesterday after police searched a home in the Carruthers Street area. According to investigators, they seized more than $15,000 in drugs, including cocaine and fentanyl, as well as more than $23,000 in cash. Police also arresting 2 others at a store in the 1800 block of Algonquin Avenue while the initial search was taking place. All 3 are being held pending a bail hearing. Thieves recently targeted a Timmins clothing store and its owner, posting security footage of them on social media. Police are investigating the crime but aren't releasing any of the details. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
House of Bras in Timmins has endured multiple break-ins. Store owner Joanne Gagnon says the most recent incident happened last Wednesday at around 5:45 a.m.
It's actually my 4th time going through that. And I thought with all the cameras and all the security system we installed and everything that we would be okay. But no, a year down the road, it's still happening.
The Timmins Police Service confirms an investigation into this recent break-in is ongoing, but was not able to accommodate an interview with CTV News at this time. A couple of days ago, Gagnon decided to post video of the robbery on her store's Facebook page.
I wanted people to see how it's really happening. Like, it really hits you once you see the video, because we hear about these break-ins all the time. But once you see the video, it really hits you more. Like, it looks more real.
Gagnon says thieves left behind a bag with a needle in it in 2 break-ins. She thought it suggested drugs were involved. Now she doubts that.
I think it looks more like organized crime than drug-related. Like, they leave bags with needles and stuff, I think, to make us think that it's drug-related, so we just forget about it. But to me, it's not. I think they were targeting, they knew what they wanted, and I think it's organized crime. The stuff is being sent out of town.
Gagnon says it's been a tough year, causing her to reflect.
With the economy, with the weather, and now all these break-ins, like it's not easy to be in retail. So it's kind of make you think of the future of, am I still going to be open, because all the cost of all of that, it's really how would I say that, heavy.
She's not giving up, though. She's launched a sale, and she gives thanks to everyone who's supporting her and her employees during this rough patch. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Fire crews were called to Elm Place Mall in downtown Sudbury around 9 this morning after reports of a gas smell on the second floor of the building. Fire and Enbridge crews were able to locate the leak to a unit on the roof. Fire Services says positive pressure fans were used to ventilate the building.
They've been really good about keeping us up to date and what's going on. They even got us a lovely city bus to keep us warm, and we're hoping we'll be back soon.
We have been responding to a number of gas leaks. A lot of them are due to ice buildup on roofs and where they are actually severing the natural gas line from there. So when in doubt, if you do smell gas and you are in a building with a fire alarm system, I would encourage you to pull that fire alarm, evacuate the building, and call 911 so that both the fire service and Enbridge can respond to the incident and determine where the cause of the gas leak came from.
About 40 people were evacuated from the mall and everyone was allowed back in by noon. Calendar will have 2 new faces sitting around the council table until the municipal election is called later this year. Last night, councillors Linda Alkins and Daryl Viancourt took their oaths of office, assuming the 2 vacant seats.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III.
Nothing has still been said publicly yet on why former Mayor Rob Noon and Irene Smith resigned from council. The Integrity Commissioner was investigating Viancourt also got off to an outspoken start, questioning the budget and high increases in policing, planning services, fire and bylaw.
And although 4.88% is maybe okay to some, it's still 4.88%. I had conversations with people who are spending $11,000 on their taxes.
Councillor Viancourt, I would have recommended that you sort of maybe watch the videos of past council while we were dealing with that. There were increases. Number one, because cost of living or just the cost of the world is that much more, fuel, etc. And we did have full explanations of all that from staff.
Carr said no one wanted that property tax rate, but infrastructure costs are expensive. The budget, which included a 4.88% increase, passed. Viancourt was the only councillor to vote against. While schools have reopened in Sudbury following last week's historic snowstorm, getting students to class remains a logistical challenge. The Sudbury Student Services Consortium says plows have made some significant progress this week clearing sidewalks and roads. However, hundreds of routes are still canceled. The consortium's executive director says many narrow residential streets and rural turnarounds make it difficult for buses to navigate safely.
We still had 800 cancellations of the runs that were canceled approximately. So yeah, so we're moving along, but I'm hoping that tomorrow is going to be a very big day for us. I'm hoping that Monday, you know, we keep on working with the city, and if they can open a few more of our issues, our problem areas, then I think, you know, next week is going to be, I'm hoping, a really good week for all of us.
Boucher says parents can check the consortium's website and social media pages for the latest updates. The province is calling on Ottawa to create an independent military honors review board to re-examine veterans' cases where evidence suggests the Victoria Cross should be awarded. As CTV's Eric Tashner tells us, it comes amid a push to upgrade a Northern Veterans Medal.
The fight to award Nipissing veteran Private Jess LaRochelle with the Victoria Cross is taking a major step forward.
Every major military organization or branch association have all agreed. Royal Canadian Legion has agreed.
Harrison spoke with Premier Doug Ford on the phone last week and pitched the case, with Ford offering his support to help.
We made our way down and sat in the gallery, and yeah, it was really moving.
The Ontario government is requesting Ottawa establish a third-party military honors review board to re-examine veterans' cases, including LaRochelle's, where evidence suggests they should be awarded with the Victoria Cross.
For the men and women who served, war was not a story. It was a reality.
LaRochelle was gravely wounded in 2006 in Afghanistan while manning an observation post when the Taliban attacked, killing 2 in his company. Despite serious injuries, La Rochelle mounted a counteroffensive, holding off an estimated 40 enemy fighters to help save other injured troops. After returning home, he never fully recovered, dying in 2023 at the age of 40. Since then, community members and other local veterans have been pushing to award him with the Victoria Cross posthumously for his act of bravery.
Jess is, a hero to myself and thousands of other Canadian veterans.
The Victoria Cross is the country's highest military honor and has not been awarded since the end of World War II. In 1993, Canada created its own Victoria Cross medal, and it has never been awarded.
In the case of Private La Rochelle, there's no doubt that he met that standard.
La Rochelle was awarded the Star of Military Valor in 2007, Canada's second highest military honor, and a petition to the federal government to upgrade the medal was signed by over 16,000 Canadians. It will be read out in the House of Commons on April 15th.
Our heroes from wars after the Second World War deserve recognition.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Amanda will have your full weather forecast. For now, look at the current conditions, and it is a lot colder than it was this time last night. Minus 21 in Kapuskasing right now. Yikes. Not too much better in Timmins or Chapleau. We're looking at minus 12 in Sudbury, some cloud cover in Sault Ste. Marie at minus 7. Minus 6 in Parry Sound. We'll have more details after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back. We're getting closer to the weekend, slowly but surely, and we are going to see some colder conditions to start the weekend. But we will see a little bit of sunshine as well, and then milder conditions to kind of wrap up the weekend and closer to spring-like temperatures as we begin next week. So few flurries expected overnight tonight, and then by tomorrow everything is going to clear up at least, which is some good news there. 7-day forecast starting with Sudbury Nickel Belt. Wind chill feeling like minus 23 tomorrow morning, high of minus 8 with mainly sunny skies, chance of flurries on Saturday, chance of sleet on Sunday, but that's when temperatures start to get closer to normal, high of 3 degrees, plus 4 on Monday, and Tuesday we see a mix of sun and cloud. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, chance of flurries for tomorrow with a bit of sunshine, high of minus 5. Minus 1 on Saturday, chance of sleet rather on Sunday with a high of 3, plus 2 on Monday with sunny skies and a chance of flurries for the rest of the week there. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, wind chill feeling like minus 28 tomorrow morning. Definitely going to want to bundle up. High of minus 10, minus 19 overnight. Chance of flurries on Saturday and sleet on Sunday, but that's when temperatures rise once again. High of 4 degrees, 10-degree difference in between Saturday and Sunday, and then cloudy skies rolling in by Monday. For Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow, high of minus 8, feeling much colder than that with the wind chill. Chance of flurries on Saturday, high of minus 5, plus 3 on Sunday with a chance of sleet, high of 1 degree on Monday and a chance of sleet on Tuesday. And finally for North Bay, West Nipissing, cold conditions to start, getting up to a high of minus 7 with mainly sunny skies for your Friday, a chance of flurries on Saturday and a chance of sleet on Sunday, high of plus 2, plus 3 on Monday with a mix of sun and cloud and a chance of sleet on Tuesday. So Ian, we still have that, it's still that give and take when it comes to weather conditions, but we are going to see some milder conditions by the time the weekend wraps up. Sending it back to you.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Well, a lot of promises made today out of Queen's Park, including tax cuts for home buyers and more money for healthcare and education. But this afternoon's provincial budget also comes with a higher than projected deficit. CTV's Siobhan Morris reports.
It's once again called a plan to protect Ontario, a budget delivered a year after U.S. tariffs were introduced. Ontario's in for deeper deficits for longer, even though tariffs didn't squeeze the province's economy as much as feared.
Our plan is cautious where it must be and ambitious where it should be.
The government projects a deficit of almost $14 billion this year, significantly more than the $8 billion predicted in Budget 2025. Next year, a $6 billion deficit, with a return to surplus in 2028-29, a year later than previously planned.
Of course, I'd prefer to have a smaller deficit. I'd prefer to balance sooner. But we have to live in the world we're in.
A world Bethlyn Falvey says still has a lot of challenges. You've already heard some of the promises in this spending blueprint. $6 billion more for colleges and universities, with an overhaul to OSAP and the end of a tuition freeze. Accounts for elementary teachers to buy classroom supplies. More cash for primary care. And waiving the HST on new home purchases for all buyers for 1 year. But here's what's new. A 1% income tax cut for small businesses, an extra $1 billion for home care over 3 years, $186 million more to the Ontario Autism Program, and $41 million for a program that puts police officers in schools. The government is also setting up a new $4 billion investment fund, working with a private manager to find companies that line up with the province's economic priorities. Think defense, data centers, and tech companies.
Come up with great patents and intellectual property. And then investors come from around the world and buy up those patents and move the offices to wherever, to the U.S., Silicon Valley, move the talent. I want that to stay here.
The opposition feels government priorities are out of line with people struggling to make ends meet.
This budget was an opportunity for Doug Ford to choose a stronger, more affordable future for Ontario. What we heard instead was stale announcements, more cuts.
There's frustration over government excitement for new highways, an expanded Toronto Island Airport, a possible tunnel under the 401.
These projects are so irresponsible that the government talks about them in the budget and never assigns dollar figures to them because they're too embarrassed.
The Liberals flipped the name of the budget and the government's motto.
They're pretending. They're not protecting.
There's no money attached to these things, but the government is looking at the possibility of standardizing rules for ride-sharing programs and ways to protect your loyalty points. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
And tonight, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, or FNOM, is welcoming support for northern communities and economic growth, including a reduction in small business corporate income tax from 3.2 to 2.2% and an ongoing commitment to the Northern Ontario Resource Development Support Program. The budget did include a pledge to twin Highway 69, but there was no date attached to it and no apparent mention of building out Highways 11 and 17 in the region. FNOM's president, though, still choosing to stay optimistic.
It's something that's past the point of dire need, and I think there hasn't been an MPP or an MP actually that I've spoken to that don't agree. So I think everybody's pretty much aware. The only thing we can do is just keep getting in front of them, making sure they understand the situation.
While the government has pledged to strengthen enforcement of the highways, Plord says they will continue to work with both governments in finding long-term solutions. Still ahead tonight on CTV News. It's taken 5 years, but Laurentian University now has a new chancellor. We'll introduce you to him after this. The OHL postseason kicked off tonight, and we had one northern team on the ice, the Troops, who were down at Peterborough, kicking off their series against the Petes. And this game had only one goal, and it was for the battalion. Lyra Mamedovsky coming through big time for the guys halfway through the second. Nolan Laird gets the assist. North Bay now leads the series 1-0. There are officially fewer than 80 days to go until Toronto joins cities across the continent in hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Hundreds of thousands of visitors are expected to stream into the city for the world's most watched sporting event. Today, officials unveiled their mobility plan, highlighting what they're calling a transit-first approach.
It's essential as we welcome the world that our transit system gives a customer experience that is welcoming and makes ease of travel just that, really easy and seamless. And so to that end, we've done a ton of planning around our reliability and our response levels to make sure that reliability is ensured, and we'll have those redundancies across the system through this period. The second part is people. We will have TTC staff in droves everywhere across our system.
Officials estimate around 300,000 visitors will come to Toronto during the World Cup as the TTC prepares to boost service on bus and streetcar routes that serve Toronto Stadium and other key sites. Paramedic Services in Greater Sudbury is hopeful permanent funding for a patient transfer vehicle will come from the Ministry of Health after the success of a pilot project. As CTV's Alana Everson explains, it's helping with patient flow at the hospital.
Officials with Paramedic Services in Greater Sudbury say during the 2-year pilot project, this patient transfer vehicle reduced non-urgent transfers done by ambulance by 70%.
We received funding for 2 years, starting in 2024, and that funding was to operate a 2-year pilot to study the transportation of medically stable patients that could be placed on this vehicle that would free up paramedic resources to be available for emergency calls.
The chief of Paramedic Services says 9 staff who worked as transfer attendants during the 2-year pilot project were on fixed-year contracts that end April 1st.
So right now, we're going to be pivoting to using existing staff, and depending on the amount of funding and the duration, we will bring a report back to City Council, which would go through a normal budgetary process. But right now, we believe that the decision to utilize existing staff is the right one, and that's where we're headed operationally.
Paramedic Services confirm 90% of the transfers over the past 2 years were to and from Health Sciences North.
And typically, there are challenges associated with moving patient flow throughout the hospital, where we have ambulances on offload delay. So this vehicle will help support increasing capacity for patient flow to ensure that patients that are waiting for a bed can be moved up as we are able to discharge and return patients back to where they belong or where they live.
The service is currently awaiting word on permanent funding from the Ministry of Health. In the interim, the patient transfer vehicle is still operating. The service says if funding comes through, it will be retroactive. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
For the first time in 5 years, Laurentian University has a new chancellor. The school has appointed Christian Straub to the role. Straub is a member of the Henvey Inlet and French River No. 13 First Nation. He serves as the inaugural president and CEO of the Canadian Indigenous Loans Corporation. Straub is a Laurentian alumnus and the grandson of Art and Ava Solomon, 2 foundational figures who helped establish the university's Native Studies program.
They did a lot of work both in Sudbury, regionally across Canada, as well as internationally on the promotion of equality, of cultural balancing, and bringing the social challenges that Indigenous folks across the world faced. And they did a lot of work at advancing that. So I'm proud as a grandson to be able to continue participating in a university that permits that legacy to continue.
Straub will officially take over following an installation ceremony this spring. Finally, tonight, Marymount Academy students in Sudbury hosted a Women in SET Career Day, inspiring students about future careers in science, engineering, technology, and trades. The day started with a presentation before getting the chance to network with professionals in the industries. This event was organized by a student using her connections with women in the industry. She says it snowballed to other classmates and teachers, drawing in more women for the Career Day.
I met professional engineers who were female. I met women working in various fields across science, engineering, trades, and technology. And for the first time, I could really picture myself there. And I actually felt like I had a place and like I could succeed. And there are so many wonderful opportunities in those fields, and women really can thrive. And I think that sometimes all it takes is just to meet that one person or a few people that you can really connect to, and their story really resonates with you. And I wanted to share that with my school.
I think it's fantastic because sometimes young women aren't knowledgeable about all the career opportunities that there are for them. So when they have mentors that come out and show that women are in all these vast and underrepresented fields, it gives them that empowering feeling that they can put themselves into those positions as well. So it's a very enlightening day for them.
Poirier says the event also served as a reminder of the powerful and supportive community of women in Sudbury. Well, that takes us to the end of our newscast this Thursday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.